Okay. What time is it?
3:10.
Okay, cool. Because you arrived late, so I just wondered what time we were going to start.
Oh, you just wanted to put on record. I was not late, actually. I was 3 p.m. walking through the doors.
Yeah, but I was here before you, I suppose.
That doesn't make me late. It just makes you early.
Okay.
So,
Haven't seen you in a week. How's your week been?
we have not seen each other in a full week. It's been good, been busy. Funny thing happened to me this week.
What?
I got scammed.
Oh.
Yeah, legit. So I am the first person to like listen to all the scam stories on BBC Radio. Like I love them. You know, like they talk about the phishing emails where usually sort of older people or, you know, people who are not very sort of tech savvy, they'll have received a message or an email for saying you have to pay this, or, you know, in 24 hours, if you don't pay this fine, like your house is going to get repossessed. And you have these like scary, scary stories and people feeding into these scams on like Bitcoin or what. Love these. I listen to them and I just munch on them. I just think they're so fun. Well, probably not for the person for who it's happening, but I find them really entertaining. And then this week I kind of fell for it.
So what happened?
So this was, and definitely, this is where you're definitely being targeted on social. But I was being targeted by a few companies on like how to grow your following with AI, like organic sort of targeting methods, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of like escalated, and it got to the point where I was seeing these, like every time I was scrolling, there was like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these adverts. And then at some point, this was on Monday morning. I don't know why. I just woke up and I was like, you know what? Why not test and learn? Like even just see if this like even works.
But okay.
Just as it's almost as an experiment, you know, like they keep targeting, there's a bunch of them doing it. Is there something in it? Went through the whole thing, put in my credit card details, and then literally looked at my card statement, and I had 6 transactions from the same company trying to get money from me.
Really?
Yeah.
But how big amounts?
No, not big amounts, but just like consistently.
Okay.
So I ended up, and then it was just after I paid. I don't know why I had a moment of clarity. You get this moment of clarity after you've like put in your card details and everything, where you think, was this a scam? And I Googled the company name and put, is blah, blah, blah a con? And it basically came up with, this is a scam. Like, this is a con. You're not going to receive anything. The customer service is rubbish, blah, blah, blah. And then essentially I was like, shit, I've been scammed.
Okay.
And I actually had to call up my bank, cancel my credit card, cancel the card, block the account. And I'm trying to get the money back, but potentially it's a bit of a lost cause.
Really? Why?
Because I allowed the transfer to go through.
Okay.
But to be fair, my bank have been really good. And I believe there are ways, and this is where my BBC scam kind of listening has come in, because I do think there's quite a lot of protection for people who get scammed nowadays, but still it's a bit of a pain in the butt.
That's interesting.
And I've basically spent my week on the phone.
I've actually been scammed, I think, twice in this year.
Really?
Yeah. I was buying a mattress and a divan bed thing, you know, like not a bed.
Oh,
but,
just like the bottom bit.
Bottom bit.
Yeah.
And I went online, just like cheap double mattress, divan type of thing. And I found the first company that came up, and they were like, divan for you, you know, really cheap, this and that. Anyway, I bought it. And then nothing, got the email confirmation.
Yeah.
And then
And was it like
later,
this big by the time when you got it in the post?
And then by the time, then I got the email a week later saying, you know, we're in the process of making it, we'll be back in touch.
Yeah.
And then about a week later, I emailed saying, where is it? When is it going to be delivered? And then they go, unfortunately, the company has gone into administration, so you won't be able to receive, like, all orders have been halted, etc. And at that point, I was like, oh, it must be a scam. So I went online and it said, basically, the company closes all the time and then reopens as a different name or something.
How niche, though. I mean, how many people are looking for a divan?
I know, right? And it's so weird. But luckily, the credit card company paid back, because it was quite obviously like a,
Did you authorize the payment though?
yeah.
Even if you do, see, this is the thing.
Yeah,
I think there's quite a lot of protection.
Because this is like obviously an established company,
Yeah.
and they close it down and they reopen it
Yeah.
and stuff. So there is customer support in there. And the other time I did that was about, actually, to be fair, I ordered this back in September from a furniture company, a really, really nice bench. And then they said it would take like 90 days to get to the UK because it came from China, obviously, or something like that. Anyway, by the time it came to, they did actually email saying, we're going to deliver this. And then they kept saying,
Attempted delivery,
but literally 3 or 4 times in a row. So I thought that's weird because there's always an opportunity to deliver. And then when I got back in touch with them saying, listen, just cancel it. If you're not going to deliver it properly, cancel it.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, well, the item's now in our warehouse on the way back to China. So now we have to wait for it to
come back.
All of this
All that blah,
rubbish
blah, blah.
to delay. And I got really, I started sending them emails saying, just refund me. And eventually they, at the beginning, said, well, our terms and conditions actually are that we'll refund 20% of if you don't want the delivery to be attempted again. And I said, absolutely not, absolutely. And eventually I bartered with them back and forth and I got 90% of my money back. But 10% I had to accept it as like a...
Wow.
And I think it's...
What kind of bartering did you use?
I just quite aggressive emailing.
Just a very stern word.
But I think it's a semi-type of scam where people give up.
Yeah.
And
for sure. For sure. I mean, I've kind of been negotiating with this company too to get a bit of a pay back on the sum that I put in. And I was like, and also because you have a 30-day grace period. So this is something that people definitely need to know. In pretty much all like subscription-based things, there's usually a 30-day grace period where you can ask for a refund and they kind of have to give you. It's a cool, I think they call off. Well, this is if it's a scam, then I don't know how then that goes. Your bank, I guess, is kind of covers you. That's part of the insurance of having credit cards, right? Also, when you are building a business by yourself, like you
make these mistakes.
And I think sometimes you're trying to find the shortcuts that are just going to help you, to get a little bit further or get that win.
What was this going to hopefully get you? More followers?
From my 5 followers. For me, the clarity came like after I made the payment. And the thing is, when you're alone, you don't have sometimes that sounding board where if I would have said to you like, Ollie, look, I've been looking at these. What do you think? And you would have been like, Clem, it's definitely a scam. Look at it. And then at that point, you have a bit of clarity. But you're having to make all these decisions like, approve this or change this or do that, copy that, blah, blah, blah. At some point, you're like, is there some ways I can fast forward a few things, make some things a bit easier?
I had very little interest in social media until I became an influencer, So I just find it really fascinating, like how much of it is strategic.
Okay, so it is something that I'm like, half of me really wants to go deep and like understand social media, but to a bit like into like a science, like how do you create virality? How do you create videos that engage people, that people want to watch, that people are going to engage with? Because I'm sure there's a science to it. I really think that there is.
Well, I don't know about a science, but there's definitely a method.
There is a method.
Because these hooks and these, you hear about like crazy viral videos and things, but you don't really know. It's true. Like, there must be a potluck element to it too.
For sure. And I think to some extent, you see some of these huge viral videos that clearly come from...
Do you know, I'll tell you what isn't viral.
What?
Posts about boundaries.
Yeah.
I feel like LinkedIn is a bit of a platform of self-promotion.
Oh, you've just realised that?
Yeah. I realised that like people love to like promote themselves on there.
The home of the humble brag.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so maybe that's why my posts are not faring that well, is because I'm not bragging about anything.
You need to brag. You need to tell people how amazing you are, how much you can improve their lives.
It's a very weird thing. Then you kind of think, what's the value of it? Essentially, I suppose it's just building a community. But if it's just people who they all brag about each other, or like
Yeah.
is self-bragging and then you support someone else who's bragging about themselves.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of just to like comment and
Yeah.
re-comment and like, and it's all a very, very superficial relationship.
Yeah, I mean, were you expecting deep and meaningful conversations
Well, I was
through
just
LinkedIn?
thinking it would be genuine and authentic.
I think you're in the wrong place. Social media is not authentic.
No, but I thought LinkedIn might be.
No, it's easier to break through because there's fewer people, and actually fewer people who actually engage with LinkedIn. Like, you got picked up for your BBC interview.
Yeah, no, I get
through
it's
that.
not bad. I suppose in my mind, I'm just seeing it as more something I enjoy doing. The posts, I
Yeah.
like writing them. I like publishing that.
The thing is, if you really want to sort of grow following or engagement and things like that, then, you know, the content has to be really grabbing, and it has to be. I remember one of the posts that I had the most engagement with was when I was targeted by a company to sell a product, which was a complete gimmick. And I kind of outed them without putting the name of the company, but I was just kind of highlighting. And people love that. They love to see like something which is, you know, gimmicky or duplicitous or whatever. Like, they like the gossip. And I think you kind of have to feed that in a way.
Well, I suppose it's a type of hook, isn't it?
It's a type of hook, exactly. But you have to have that
it's like
hook.
a secret. People love a secret. Or
A bit like the video from last week about me talking about my experience with bullying. Like, that people engaged with. And it's almost awful to think, because you think, well, people are kind of feeding on that kind of story rather than anything that's actually more neutral or a bit more knowledge-based or
But
more
is
sort
it
of
people?
informative.
No, this is a good question then. Is it the people or is it the algorithms that just pick up on these things? Because I'm
Good
sure
question.
you're only presented with what the algorithm sends you. So actually, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the algorithm saying, rubbish, this is too moderate, this is too basic.
Yeah.
And then saying, but then picking up on the things
For
that
sure.
really will.
And I think this is one of the things that people are complaining about, because they're saying basically it's these big social media companies that have the power to promote certain messages over others, and essentially promote more toxic messaging, which has more virality than more sort of standard run-of-the-mill kind of messages
then
or information.
The news in general historically has always been bad news sells, good news doesn't sell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of,
But
I think,
the news
known thing.
historically has to be backed by fact, right? Like, journalists can't report on fake news.
no.
On social media, people can talk about whatever they want.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been this week literally in people's comments on videos that I think are wrong, saying and trying to call it out. But, you know, it's...
Have you been cancelled?
I've been cancelled from one social media woman, but I'm not allowed to comment on any of her posts.
No way.
Yeah.
So how does she do it? She's asked for you to be specifically removed.
I don't know if she asked, or if sometimes you can do like people who've engaged with this account, like block them. So you can do sort of cross blocking.
But as in her team has highlighted you as like a nuisance.
At some point, yeah.
Wow.
I know.
I wonder if there's like an Instagram jail to go to.
And that's the thing. We can't contribute factual information.
Doesn't sound like a democracy to me.
No, it's not supposed to be a democracy.
Is it not?
No. My equal interest in social media is also paired by my huge disdain of it. Like, I can tell that my moods are lower, that my sleep is impacted. Like, if I spend too much time on it, I can really tell.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm just not. And also the reality of it, as I'd say for me, maybe you would agree with this, in terms of building a business, ultimately, there isn't directly a link between the followers and the amount of clients that you're getting.
No.
It's a vision of it. Like, I think if someone is looking for a dietitian that they've never been recommended and they find you on the internet, I think it's just like a bit of a 360. People will go in and put Clementine Vaughan. And
You
then
need a presence.
It gives you a presence. They can click
Yeah.
on a few things. They can see you've got an Instagram account. They can see you've got a LinkedIn profile. They can see that you've got a great podcast with an amazing host. And then they just think, you know, this person's fairly normal. She's likable. I'll go on a call with her. And I think that for me as a purpose, it's serving. And but as a actual platform for me, I suppose at this stage, is not really to go, that person who follows me is directly going to be my client.
No. There's a few things I would say about social media, though, is one, if you can figure out that formula, whatever that is, then, and if you can grow a following, what it does give you is a huge platform to then launch other business more easily, right? You're almost getting like free marketing or very cheap widespread marketing, right? You can create like...
Yeah, but I think you have to be in the hundreds of thousands to do that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you can really get it right, I mean, you know, you look at someone like Grace Beverly, or you look at, you know...
those are influence. They started off as influencers and then went into
I know,
business.
but this is my point, is what they... I don't know whether they did it intentionally or not, but the idea is that you grow a mass, then you can launch more or less anything you want within that, right? People who like you will like things that you're associated with.
Yeah,
and that's a form of business.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Creation. The other thing is, I would say growing followers on Instagram is actually quite sticky. I have yet to know of many people who've grown a lot of followers and then gone down to zero. And I think once people start following you, it actually takes a lot for them to unfollow you.
Oh, I see. So you've got like a loyal follower.
You have quite like a loyal base that you can kind of build
people all the time.
Yeah, but I think you're quite...
Also, I don't really have any
unusual.
I don't have any like influencers or anything on my follow.
No? What do you follow?
Friends,
Mostly just friends.
family, maybe businesses that I might like
Yeah.
actually product selling businesses.
Yeah.
Actually, most of it really, I'll tell you, is when I see a brand I know I won't remember the name of, I'll follow them. And then later on down the line, when I've either remembered their name or been able to go on their website, then I'll unfollow them because I don't really have any.
Okay, so you kind of use it as a way to remember.
Yes,
Oh, that's
that.
really interesting.
And also the rest is like, I quite like the kind of daily quotes and like gratitude type of accounts.
Yeah.
I find them, I have a few of those. And, like the Times, the New York Times, their posts. But otherwise, I don't have any influencers, any celebrities, any actors, any, one of fame of any kind in my following.
What do you think about people who create accounts for their kids or their dogs?
I mean, you've got a lot of time on your hands.
Are you not considering
No. I mean,
a Jupiter?
Jupy would be like super successful on Instagram.
I love it when people write in the third person of like their kid or their dog.
Oh, I find it funny.
Like,
I find it
Mummy
funny.
today.
Yeah. No,
just
or when people are writing like, happy birthday, so-and-so, the light of my life, the day you were born, they're talking to their child on their Instagram post about how much they love them. And I always find that a really hilarious, it's sweet. There's nothing wrong with it in itself, but it's a really weird concept to think that like your child is going to
scroll through your Instagram account
20 years later and read that comment and be like, oh, my mum really loved me on my second birthday. That was a really nice post of hers.
This just reminds me of the Meghan Markle, where she was like, she writes an email every day to her kids.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, how impractical is that?
And then for the 18th birthday, they're going to receive like 20,000 emails.
Yeah. And in itself, you think, oh, that's quite a thoughtful thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with it if it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And, everyone loves their kids. They want to celebrate them, etc. But then you're like, how is that going to work practically? Also your parents, you probably don't want them to be on social media. So it's like, don't go on social media, but there is a post about you from 18 years ago that I'd like you need to like and read.
And share.
Exactly. It's just such a weird, I always find that like a really funny thing because then you think they might as well just write it to their friends and family. Although I guess I think it is part of building the business, which is I do spend a bit of time on, not loads of time a week. And I have battled with like just sticking to one platform. But I do think, it doesn't take me too long to just to do a few posts on, Insta and a few posts on LinkedIn. It's not my strategy anyway of getting clients, and it's more of a presence thing.
I think also you are way better than me at regulating your time. I have to sort of check myself when it comes to Instagram. I do find it can be a bit of a pool that drags me down, and it's not a good one. So that's the other thing, is we forget that the time where we doom scroll for sometimes 45 minutes will pass like that. And you think, what could I have done in 45 minutes? Go for a walk. I mean, just get some fresh air, make some food. Anything pretty much is better than just kind of sitting on your phone and doom scrolling.
Yeah, I agree.
I know we're both building businesses. I think the idea of, I think social media is definitely something that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
Are there other aspects of building a business that you've found that you're enjoying or
I
not?
really like the business side of the coaching. And they always tell you when you leave your coaching qualification that a big part of the success of, or not success of a coaching business is going to be the, not the actual session, but they do say like because you have to do the marketing, you have to
Accounting.
network, I suppose the accounting, do all of these admin sides of your business. And I really enjoy doing that. I'd say in my week, I probably spend like all combined, maybe a day on that.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah, I agree. I really like, I was reflecting on this. I was like, I do more accounting now than when I was an actual accountant.
Yeah.
Like I spend so much doing my books and my accounts and stuff. But yeah, the admin side of, I actually really enjoy too.
So basically the clients is the worst part.
Yeah. No, the clients is definitely draining.
Yeah.
I would say, I remember someone once saying to me, like, you know, at the rate that you're at, like, you can earn so much money because you could see, like, you know, 8 to 10 people in a day and make so much and blah, 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 multiply it. And I just remember thinking 8 to 10 people in a day is exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could not do that.
I can only imagine, I know you, so I know that you would be similar to me, but you do get involved with your clients. Like it's, you know, you feed off of like their wins and their losses and their highs and their lows. You really get invested. And the worst is when you don't see results because you're like, you think, you know, they're coming to see me as an expert and I'm giving them the advice. There's almost a guilt feeling, which is, it's really hard to kind of carry that sometimes because you want them so bad to get what they're looking for.
Yeah.
But it's so hard sometimes.
You've got to detach a bit.
Yeah, you really do.
I think it is a practice to do that because otherwise you're not able to kind of go down that path like without taking it home or without it making you feel, you know, affected. Yeah. I learned that quite a while ago through yoga teaching. Have some distance between your students and you, like your as a teacher, because it's the whole idea is that you're serving them for the hour that they are on the mat. And generally people who come to yoga are people who, not always, but some of the time, who have stress, carrying things going on. Yeah. You know, they want to feel, they come to the mat in order to get that release for an hour, to de-stress, to release anxiety. Yeah. Sometimes there's tears, sometimes there's all of these things happening. And as a yoga teacher, you have to create a distance. Yeah. Otherwise, when you have a room full of students and there's this energy and you're absorbing it, it really, really affects you. And it's an amazing thing that happens. Yeah. But it's I find this process is quite similar for me. Yeah. And it's just every time I now finish a meeting or a session, I just let myself go, that was best I could do. I think that was, a really good outcome. And it's not really on me anymore. And I kind of try and remind myself, it isn't about me. It's completely about them. Yeah. Because otherwise you go into this loop of like, maybe I didn't do well enough. Maybe I should have done more. Maybe I should get back to them. Maybe I should, I should have responded differently. Maybe I should give them a free, not a free session, but like maybe I should reach out or more advice or etc. And actually I kind of step back and go, nope, that was a really positive. Like I gave everything I could. I think I did a good job. I reacted well with all the things that they kind of required or needed, and they felt supported. And now I step back. Yeah, but it is an active thing.
It is, and it's something I have to remind myself to do too. If you're holding their hands too much, that they'll never be able to do it themselves, and ultimately they're more likely to fail. Yeah. And to then not get the results that they're looking for. Because in both of our practices, it's a lot of it where people have to take on the challenge themselves to make the changes.
That's why I don't really, I'm not against it, but I don't really understand mentoring, because I definitely get consultancy. If you're an expert in a
Yeah.
in a field and you consult, that's
Can you
one
explain
thing.
the difference?
Well, it's
as you
it's
see
that.
it?
So a consultant is generally an expert. So
Okay.
in a specific field, industry,
Yeah.
system, whatever that
Yeah.
might be. And so you have like say the McKinsey's
Yeah.
consultants, they or the Bain and Co, etc.
Okay.
So they'll have, and they charge out a fee for
Yeah.
on a project basis.
And so then between a mentor and a coach.
But generally, a mentor is kind of like someone who's walked through your shoe, who's gone through your experiences, who's walked through your shoes or your paces or whatever, who's walked your shoes.
Yeah.
You've taken your footsteps, and then you look to them for
Gone
advice.
down that path.
Gone down that path. So, for example, like typically a business mentor, like a really successful businessman who then becomes a mentor to someone who's building a business. But the thing for me with that is that it's not the same experience. Every single experience is different.
Yeah.
So that's a super successful businessman. He's going to have so many variables that you won't have.
Yeah.
So many different, whether it's timing, age, money, finances,
Yeah.
responsibilities, just cultural, we're living in a different stage. Building a business 10 years ago and making it super successful is so different today. And so I find it like, I get the advice side. It's nice to have someone say like, don't do this, do that. The greatest thing.
Don't sign up to that scam.
Yeah. But that's kind of more of like advice,
Yeah.
advisory, like mentoring. I find there's a bit of like, for me, it's a bit lost, because by definition, if I was to say, well, this worked for me when I was in your situation, first of all, it's incorrect because I was never in your situation.
Yeah.
And second of all, it worked for me, but that does not mean in any way
Might not work for you.
it might not work for
Yeah.
you. And so this is where coaching is a bit different, where coaching, you're essentially enabling the person to, out of their own resources and
to figure it out for
to
themselves.
figure it out themselves. But in doing so, you're pulling out, getting them to grow a better mindset,
Yeah.
to reflect, to have perspective.
Or to deal with things that
to
they
deal
might
with-
not have
exactly.
dealt with.
Ultimately, if you work it out for yourself, with the help of other people,
Yeah.
supervisors, coaches,
Confidants,
friends, bosses,
whatever.
and that you work it out, therapist, anything, but you work it out for yourself, the chance of success is, and sustainable change is so much greater because you've got that on your own.
Yeah. And I think that goes definitely without saying. It was with you actually, we were listening to an episode of, can't even remember who, but where basically they said like, stop giving advice. Like, we are addicted to giving advice to people. Actually, just listen to your friends and help them figure it out for themselves, because your advice is always going to be worse than whatever they can come up with themselves. And I think I remind myself of that as a dietitian, where I'm trying to shoehorn my own advice into someone. And I think, actually, wait, let them come up with it. Like, it'll
It's better
be
to spark the questions that will then
Right.
make them come up with
and
it.
it could be something so simple as like, how do you think you're going to get more fiber into your diet? Let them come up with options. Like, let them say, oh, well, actually like this or like that. And then that is much more likely to stick than me saying, you should do it like this, or
Yeah.
here are 5 ideas, pick one.
Yeah.
Working with clients and patients, like, it's an emotional
Yeah.
thing to go through for sure. Sometimes funny, but sometimes really like draining.
Yeah.
I've
Do you
had
have any funny clients at the moment? I mean,
At
not
the
clients, but
moment-
like, as in, in the past, have you had like any interesting inquiries?
Yeah, I've had some really interesting inquiries. I think sometimes people really massively like overestimate the power that diet can have
Yeah.
on your health. I've had, oh my gosh, most recently I had a woman who sent me an inquiry and who was basically looking to conceive and wanted some pseudo kind of fertility advice and asking specifically for advice to be able to conceive a girl,
Okay.
because she already had a boy and they could only have one other child.
Yeah.
And so they wanted it to be a girl. That was quite a funny one.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it makes you like a magician if you can work that out.
If I knew how to work that out, I would not be here.
Actually,
I
I
would be on
saw
my
your post
jet.
recently about if for every pound, if every time that you gave this advice you get a pound, you'd be really rich. What was the advice?
What was it around, like supplements?
Yes, that was it.
Oh my gosh, the number of times people ask me like, what supplements should I be taking? But won't even be having like 5 fruit and veg a day. And it kills
Isn't
me.
It's like the fast route to like getting all your, nutrients.
Yeah, and I think it's people forget, like, you can't supplement yourself out of a bad diet. Like, they say you can't train a bad diet. So you can't eat like shit and then go to the gym and it'll work itself out. Like, you have to train well and eat well.
Yeah.
Same thing with supplements. Like, you can't be eating a rubbish diet and then just taking a bunch of pills.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's an easy way of doing it.
It is an easy way of doing it. And sometimes it really works. Like, actually, I, this week, have learnt my own lesson because I was not feeling, you can hear I'm a little bit bunged up for the 3rd time in 3 months, which is really annoying. And then I was looking at my diet and I was like, I haven't been taking my vitamin D and I haven't been eating nearly enough oily fish. So I've started supplementing because I was like, I just don't really have time or brain space to like add it in food. So I will take this shortcut whilst I'm really busy.
Okay, so you're basically just contradicted what you were saying.
Well, no, because I'm being targeted. I'm not just going to take like a broad spectrum, like bunch of vitamins. And I know exactly what I'm looking for.
Well, why don't you just go and get some oily fish?
Because I just don't have time.
But you do have time.
I don't have time.
You do have time.
I don't have time.
So the cobbler is the worst healed.
That's a French expression,
Yeah.
which you translated, which means nothing in English, but we'll go for it. Yeah, I am definitely being mildly hypocritical here. But, as soon as I started taking my supplements, I started feeling so much better. My energy was coming back. I actually think it's more the vitamin D than the omega.
I have to say that I had my bloods done recently and there was no major deficiency, even though I don't take any supplements. But
You do take supplements.
I have now started to because I was on the low side of Vit D and of folate, she said. I don't know what that is. But other than that, it was, and I think Vit B, there was a Vit B, but not deficient, but just on the low side.
Yeah.
So I've started taking those, but
Have you felt any
actually
different?
wasn't even, well, actually, no, because I bought low doses and actually I was meant to buy the high doses.
Okay, so.
So I should either double them up. Or,
Yeah, you can take more, you can double if you need to take a little bit more. But yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely supplementation is like the number one thing that people will ask me.
Interesting.
I mean, I did have one woman ask for consultation to help her make her hair stop going grey.
Okay.
That was a fun one too. I had to break it to her that I didn't have the power
To do that.
to do that, unfortunately.
I suppose a hairdresser could, though.
Yeah, with dye.
So all she had to do
Her
is
argument, though, was hilarious. Her argument was that her mum and her grandmother hadn't gone grey by the age that she was, therefore it wasn't natural. To which I reminded her that they were probably dyeing their hair.
Yeah,
And she
well,
was,
all you
I
should have
know.
said is like, I can't help you, but a good hairdresser will
And a
definitely.
really good hairdresser. Yeah. That one made me laugh so much. She was just adamant that she was like, my hair should not be grey. So yeah, I wonder who.
I
picked
do
her
think
up on
because
that.
you're in the medical space, you will get much more like kind of people assuming you can give them a solution to like a health issue or I suppose a beauty issue in this case.
Yeah, and I think it's funny. You do sometimes, and this is when you're in echo chambers of your own like profession, because you think, oh yeah, everybody knows what a dietitian / nutritionist can do, and then you get queries like that, and you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
not everybody does. So it kind of grounds you a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the other one that I find is interesting is like sometimes saying to people that I'm not going to take them on.
That's actually, I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah.
I am the same as you in the sense that I think it's really important to work with the right people.
Yeah.
And once or twice now, I've kind of kindly declined.
Yeah.
Not declined, but I suppose I've not followed through in a way which was, polite enough that therefore there was no follow-up because I don't want to work with someone who I know is not matched.
Yeah.
It's the most unrewarding.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's super detrimental to...
Oh, it's draining.
Yeah.
It's so... And I've made that mistake. I have made the mistake. And I think, oh my gosh, at the beginning, I think anyone starting that business will make that mistake because you're like...
Yeah, you want
the money.
You want to build your
experience.
clients and
I think you're also a little bit exploring. You kind of convince yourself that it'll be fine. But
yeah.
I remember I had one client and this one killed me. Every time we would have a session, so over Zoom, she would be like, so
Yeah, she would just be.
she was
anyway,
basically doing her emails at the same time whilst I was giving her advice.
Yeah.
And the number of times I wish
What
I had
did you do then?
nothing, but I wish I had, and my gosh, this is such hindsight, you know, like in an argument, you're like, oh my God, that would have been such a good one-liner, but I never pulled it out. This is kind of a similar situation. I wish I would have just stopped talking until she would have
Yeah.
paid attention, and she would have probably said like, oh, I'm still here. And I would have said something really cool and suave along the lines of like, you know, if this is not important for you right now, we can reschedule. But I didn't.
Yeah, but I
not
suppose
that
because
cool.
she just didn't want to put the time to it.
I mean, it's interesting because she also, I didn't make the mistake because she was so adamant that she wanted like one specific treatment plan, which I didn't believe was the right one for her, but she wanted to do it. So I supported her through that. And then she didn't kind of get the results that she wanted. So she wasn't particularly happy with the outcome, which I could have sort of predicted. But sometimes you have to balance that, which is like, if someone is so adamant that they
It's their
want to go
choice.
down, ultimately it's their choice. And so I am of the belief that it's better to accompany them through that safely than to say like, do whatever you want, you know, and then potentially she could harm herself more.
And now, how would you decline someone?
Oh, really good question.
Because you have to do it in a professional way.
You have to do it in a professional way. I think I would always say, look, to maximize like the opportunity of, you know, a successful outcome, you probably are better off being served by someone who is more aligned with your views.
Yeah.
And it kind of depends on like what the reason is. If it's someone who's just super rude, I would just say, yeah, who's more aligned with your way of working, you know, something along those lines. I mean, if you're really in it for the money, just like hike up your prices 5 times and get them to sort of say no.
I was going to say that's something I'd done before, because then it's a way of, I suppose, I think it's just to make yourself out of budget. Therefore, they're not going to take you on.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know how ethical that is in a way, but if they say yes, then you're like, oh shit.
But they're not going to. I mean,
But they're not. And I don't think it's
unethical in a way. I think it's.
I don't know. But it's definitely, you have to be professional. And with me, I will, if I like them, like if I genuinely just thought, look, I just don't think, I mean, sometimes I've just not got the expertise, and I'm very honest, and I say, look, I just don't have the expertise to support you, but I will, as far as I can, try and find them someone who I think could serve them better, whether it's, you know, a different specialist or a referral or a letter or something like that. I quite like to make sure that people leave me in like safe hands rather than just say
sorry,
no.
I can't do. Yeah.
But if it's someone who was particularly rude, then I might just say, look, I think you'll be better off served elsewhere. But if I don't feel comfortable recommending them to someone else, then I won't. But it's tough. It's definitely a bit of a, you have to kind of balance.
I think it's also experience. Over time, you realize like you can pick up on those things of
You really can.
who you could work with and who would get
It's
the
interesting.
most out of it.
You can tell very quickly by how seriously someone's going to take that initial consultation. Like some people will take it, you know, whilst they're in their car or walking their dog and kind of not be listening. And you know those people, they're just not really that committed. In some instances, I have been proved wrong, and someone's just very busy and they're fitting you when they can in their day. And I absolutely accept that. But 9 times out of 10, I've noticed that those are the people who are actually not ready for that commitment to make changes.
I always
And
ask
that's
that
totally fine.
in my consultation sessions. It's like, do you currently have the time for this?
I ask
and
it.
Do you? Yeah.
But it's, you know, people will be like, yeah, right now I really want to do it. And then you never hear from them again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. What are the things you don't like then about your building your business?
Nothing. Because even the things I find hard, I enjoy. And then I think it's the dosage. I think then it's up to you.
What are things that you find hard?
What are things I find hard? I find the one-to-one consultations hard because I find that I get really invested in them. So I find them really draining. As in, not negatively draining, but they do take a lot of my energy. So I have to make sure I replenish that energy, which is why I purposefully have 2 days a week to split up my week so that I can recover after like big days of seeing patients.
Yeah.
Because I think that makes me a better, like tomorrow I have a full book. I need to be in good form. I have to have been rested and feel good to be able to be
Agreed.
a better dietitian, basically.
So you're not going out clubbing tonight?
You never know. No, I am not. Question. If you knew that starting your own business up was going to be this hard, would you still do it?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's that hard.
Oh, you don't think it's that hard?
I mean, you made it sound like when you said this hard, I knew it's hard, but I don't think it's any more than I expected.
Okay.
It's certainly not how I would describe starting a business.
Is it different to what you expected?
Yeah, I suppose it's more varied than I expected, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, absolutely, I would still go for it, because the thing is, when you really, really enjoy what you do, and when you and like I said, like I enjoy both sides of it, the business side and the client side. There's nothing about that for me that makes it unenjoyable, really. It's challenging, yes.
Yeah.
It's not immediately rewarding, yes. It takes time, yes. You need patience, yes. All of these things. But certainly, I would definitely not describe it as being so, unbelievably hard that I would reconsider doing it. Of course not. But yeah, I think that is mostly because I really enjoy what I'm doing.
That's good. For me, the fact that I can do lots of different things at the same time, I feel like is essential. I could not do 10 years of the same thing. I would just be bored mindless. So for me, that variability, that variation, like even the fact that we get to do this once a week and I see patients tomorrow, and, yesterday or on Monday I was like cutting clips, and I love the fact that I have so many different hats.
Yeah.
And I find that is what keeps me just engaged all the time. Every time I feel like, oh, I'm sick of doing this. Oh, well, it changes. I have to do something different today. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on Shift Happens. Bit more business today.
Not so much shift, actually.
Not so much shift, actually. Well, don't get scammed. That would be one shift.
Yeah.
And take your supplements if you need to. But thank you so much for listening. We shall see you next Wednesday on a new episode of Shift Happens, and listen on whichever platform you listen to your podcast. Thank you so much.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.